Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, and YouTube says that we're live, so I think I am. Let me just get my my little pinned comment here. I thought, as always, I was just like, good to go. And then I open up my OBS, my Streamlabs OBS, and I realize that my this thingy here has not been updated since last week. But we're back. Finally. You know what? It's a bit cold in Denmark right now. It's weird. But yay! I'm sorry that I was feeling weird and under the weather Wednesday last week, but we're back now. Hopefully things are going great because we are starting. We don't have music. We're starting for realsies this time. Go with that one. On one of the chapters that I am looking forward to the most. It is chapter 18. We are in the road back. And this is where... So what happened last time in chapter 17 was that Vespa desperately tried to save Lemon down in the catacombs. She didn't manage to. Instead, this time it wasn't actually accidental. She pulled on the magic of her own spirit, which resulted her in killing her and Lemon. And now they awaken in the realms of death. As you can see here, the main plot, we are introducing the realms of death. We are introducing Ashmandair's spirit. And I don't know if you remember that, but Ashmandair was a character all the way back from the prologue. So we're going back to November last year when he was introduced. I remember that his name was one of Hurry. I hurried to get all the names out because he's a devil. And I haven't actually thought about their naming schemes yet. So, but he's going to be in here. And I think it's going to be a smaller chapter. It's basically just going to be what's going on. They're in a new world. Lemon. So what has actually happened is that Vespa, when she went into the death realm, the realm of death, with Lemon, and Ashmandair is going to be the one sending her back. When that happens, they will be spirit bound, and that's sort of the thing that's going to make her a true Fey folk, and that means that she can lift the hammer. Anyway. The main plot here is that Vespa awakens slowly in the realms of death. She's very confused about the looks and feel, however pleasant it may be. Lemon comes flying towards her, practically embracing her with her wings. Vespa is relieved to see Lemon as well. Their reunion is cut off by Ashmandair saying they aren't supposed to be there yet. He's standing in the middle of a symbol with 5 fires, only one lit. As Vespa asks what's going on, but Ashmandair don't repeat what he said. Vespa and Lemon approach the devil spirit. Ashmandair then sends them back to life. Before sending Vespa and Lemon back to life, Ashmandair tells them to find his talisman. It's going to be important in book 2 or 3, probably 3. So that's where we are. And last week, it's been an entire week. We of course finished chapter 17. So why don't we start with a little bit of a read of where we were. Cheers. Yeah, like I mentioned, it's weirdly cold in Denmark right now. Also, I'm not sure if I have any... I'm not sure if I have any ink left in this cartridge. We'll see. Okay. So Vespa here is in her imaginative forest that she uses whenever she is like using her magic, right? She is sort of imagining the flow of whatever element she's using, nature or spirit, as like a river or a stream. And right here she is trying, of course, to feel Lemon's flow of life and to make sure that it doesn't run out. For the shortest of moments, it worked. It's a bit loud. But the wound was pulling on it. Yeah, she's trying to grab a hold of Lemon's, like the tiniest of Lemon's flow of life in her imaginative river. Actually, let's go a third attempt. Time was running out and Vespa had no other ideas as she grabbed a hold of Lemon's flow, however little there was left. It worked. For the shortest of moments it worked. But the wound was pulling on it too hard and Vespa had to let go. She had to be stronger. As strong as Lemon's courage. I commented that with what, a JPEG? Alright. When defending Vespa from danger, no matter the threat. There was no time to recoup. She just had to find enough strength somewhere. Vespa tried again. Thunder rolling from somewhere beyond her forests. She was getting desperate. Even more so than ever before. But she was also not going to lose her best friend a second time. Vespa held her ground. Despite the incredible pull from Lemon's wound, Vespa held on this time and didn't let go. She groaned in pain, her body rapidly draining as the thunder closed in from somewhere she didn't know. The forest began to shake all around her, her body aching and feeling colder and colder. The pain started to be almost unbearable, but Vespa gritted her teeth and held on anyway. She was not going to lose this bizarre tug of war. Tug of war. Oh yeah, we definitely don't have a lot of ink left in this. Tug of war and Lemon barely hanging on. Probably just be better to say Lemon's life actually. Yeah, probably. Vespa suddenly knew that there wasn't thunder approaching in her forest. The roars were coming from a tidal wave rapidly approaching, and she also knew right away what the wave was. It was herself, her own spirit. Did she call on it? Did she... Wow, okay, that was really not a lot here. Yeah, it's empty. So that means new ink, hype, and even new ink box. Why doesn't that want to open? There we are. There we are. New ink hype, ink cartridge hype. And then like that, I think. And we just real quick. And there we have it. Did she? I kind of wanted. So that's one of the things. Call upon it herself. I kind of want I think that's something that needs to be more explicit in the revision, is that Vespa is actually, she's going to use her own spirit by choice, because it's the last resort. It's not going to be Anakin Skywalker in episode 1 of Star Wars, where he just sort of locks out and wins the entire war for them. It has to be some sort of agency, right? No matter how stupid it is. And this is what ends up killing her. I just messed up that word, panic. Panic. I think maybe, did she call upon it herself? That's probably a pretty good solution of doing that. Hello streamers, it's Flaze Flame. Hello Flaze Flame, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? How's the space opera coming along? Okay, I just need it. I want to go in here and add it to a revision list. Chapter 17. How do we say that? We say, make sure Vespa has agency when using his own spirit to save Lemon. PlayStation says, I was too tired to do anything today. I feel you, man. But how's it coming along since last time we spoke? I know it's probably slow, but I hope it's going well. Right. A panic spread throughout Vespa's thoughts. Renee had warned her from using her own spirit again, and she swore that she didn't mean to. She really, really didn't. Then amid all of her struggle, an idea began to form. An idea, that's just an idea. An idea began to form. Renee had told her that one's own spirit was some of the strongest. Some of the strongest magic of them all, even if it had terrible consequences. Whoops. There we had. If she could use it just this once, and only a little bit, she might be able to save Lemon after all. Vespa was sure that Renee would be able to forgive her if she managed to do just that. And even if he didn't, she was going to try anyway. She only needed a little more strength to make sure that she kept the last of Lemon's flow with her. Afterwards, she could use her spirit to close the wound, just like she had done with her arm. And the branch. And the branch's flow. And branch. Hey, Flash Flame, I change up my editing every other day. I'm just writing the next chapter instead of editing the current one. 6 pages in 2 hours. I haven't felt that in ages. Oh, that sounds good. Sounds amazing. Yeah, it's good to change our pace a bit. Just try something new. Get it rolling. And Easy Lauren is here. Hello from me too. Didn't want to interrupt during the wind up to the winding. Easy Lauren, you could never interrupt. It is amazing to have you here. I hope your Monday is going well. Through hurt and pain, and without letting go of the tiny string in her hands, Vespa braced herself. She screamed, both in the forest and in the catacombs, as a roaring spirit came crashing around her, some of it helping to hold on Lemon's string. There's a lot of string there. So yeah, this needs to be rewritten. The rest racing towards where she knew Lemon's wound would be. It wasn't long before the unbearable... Oh, this should be commanded. Commanded. It wasn't long before the unbearable pains of her arms were joined by aching bones and shredded muscles. Shredded? That sounds like she's buff. Yeah, it's definitely not the right word. It's like torn. Torn is probably better, actually. Torn. A numbness following almost instantly. Then Vespa felt something that she never had before, a coldness coursing through her body, accompanied by what could only be described as the years flowing by, withering her arms, her legs, her body, and her face away until she was an old woman, she herself hanging on to the last string of her life, of her own life. She screamed. It hurt more, so she screamed even louder. René tried to get through to her, his own voice yelling from everywhere, nowhere at once. But Vespa didn't notice, she was already gone. In the darkness of the catacombs, Vespa's dead body fell backwards onto the cold, damp stone, with a dead companion on her chest. Whoa. Yeah, so okay. There definitely needs to be some revision here. Rewrite ending. There are some things that I like in the ending. I really like the that her body withers away till she's an old woman. I'm thinking it should probably be more like her growing through the ages than just straight to the old woman. Growing, so like one moment she was an adult, the next moment she was middle-aged, and then she was old and all that. Growing through the ages. I quite like that one. Aged, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like she would age rapidly, but like I would at least mention the different ages, right? And then so there's some sort of progression and not just now she's old. I'm just gonna have that here. Make sure to mention growing rapidly. Aging rapidly. Aging. Whoops. Okay. Boom. That was the end of chapter 17. Chapter 18. Oh, my nose is itching. Why is it itching? Flame says, I like to keep my poses grand and neat. If a word can condense an entire sentence into a small phrase, then I'm doing it. Probably why it takes so long to edit. You've mentioned that before, and yes, it probably is. I don't know. I think I like the variety. I think sometimes it can be beneficial to write all of it out, or like extending just to make sure you're getting the feeling through. For example, this here, you could say that she just aged, but you know, it doesn't emphasize what she's going through. She's going through a rapid aging process because she's using her life forces, her own spirit for the magic. And so I think it's actually beneficial to have like an entire paragraph saying she's suddenly older, now she's an adult, Now she's middle-aged. Now she's an old woman dying, life flashing before her eyes, something like that. But yeah, chapter 18. The suns were warm. That was the first. The first thing Vespa noticed. But as she... Okay, so I have here... I have a little bit of something I haven't thought about for my realm of death. Do I want the suns to be there as well? I think I originally had that there would be no suns in this realm, but if the suns eclipsing are like a bridge into the spirit realm, it would make sense that you could see them there. And that's kind of cool as well, if they were. Flame says that's why it takes ages. I have to keep the emotion while shortening or lengthening it. Many times I find myself confused on what the original was trying to say. Yeah. Isilon says the most recent Sanderson lecture abridged video covers how to show and not tell when writing. That's true. Yeah, when he talks about progress in the story, he goes through that, and that was actually one of the things that really stuck out to me the most, I think. Like how easy you have control of progress in a book. You can never understand how to show, not tell, until you figure it out yourself. Yeah, it's all about trying and see what works and what doesn't. But yeah, I remember when I watched that the first time, and he said that about progress and how much control over time you had. It was so simple, but somewhat mind-blowing, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's all about the promises, right? And the way you write, the tone promise as well, that he talked about in that lecture. Like how much of the feeling do you want to get through? Want to go through, or get through the text? What if the suns were like inverted? Yes, I mean pacing. Actually. No, well, pacing and progress, because those two are closely linked. Because progress is from your promise until your payoff, right? How you signpost it. And the pacing is like, well, that's pacing. Isilon says, I think a tell paragraph can be a good starting point to fill out in revisions. Just get the story going when you don't really know what to write exactly. Yeah. Yeah, totally. And as he mentions in that lecture as well, it's always easier to go back and change things once you have the story done than it is like when you know what you want to end up with, than if you are discovering it as you go. Okay, so I don't think I want to start with this with Bud. Actually, I want to start with something entirely. Her eyelids were heavier than they had ever been. Also, can I just point out, Easy Lauren, thank you so much for watching that video. It means a lot to me that you took the time to watch it. That's so cool. I know you said you would, but just, you know, coming here and telling me, it means a lot. Thanks. Faceslim says, I have problems with that opinion. It's always easier to change things. It's harder because now you have a structured story that you cannot alter majorly without changing everything. So his point is that some of the most important things in a story are the promises that you make in the beginning. It could be promise of mystery, it could be promise of epicness, it could be like an epic war or something, it could be promise of character progress or something. And then to have a good story, you need to have a good progress and towards a good payoff, so they all align. His point, Brandon Sanderson's point, is once you know the payoff that you want to have, it's easier to go back and change things up and throw away chapters to make sure that your promise, progress, and payoff aligns than it is to throw away chapters in the middle of things, because you might end up going back all the time to throw the chapters away. I think he has an example that he often throws away his first 3 chapters, or just his beginning chapters. And he has encountered before where he's thrown away. It's easier to throw away 3 chapters by the end than it is to throw away 40 chapters in the middle. So yeah, it's all about the alignment of the promise, progress, and payoff. I usually watch the streamer I told you about. He's a lot more nuanced than promise and payoffs. It's relatively the same, but can go wrong with further detail. Yeah. Well, it's on my watch list. Reorder, remove, add, flesh out, simplify, all in the aspect of change. Exactly. And I mean, I think it makes sense when you know where you're going. It's one of the reasons why I think I'm an outliner, as more an outliner than a discovery writer, because I like to have this is my first book, but I like to have a set of some sort of structure, you know. That's why I came up with this chapter overview document, so I have some sort of structure of where I'm pretty sure I want the story to go. But I also know, as I've gone through it, that I want to change things up in the beginning. I think it's also important, it's one of my own points, it's important to have something done, like a first draft. And I think if you keep going back and changing things up all the time, you know, you just, that feeling of having accomplished something, it just keeps going away, getting further and further away. But yeah, that streamer you told me, Flame, that is, he's on the watch list. I'm a discovery writer, says Flame. That outlines everything in my mind, but all I really know is how it's gonna end and the beginning. Yeah, I think apparently most people are like that. Most writers are discovery writers. Everyone is an outliner, like you say. You have an outline somewhat in your head, and then you're discovering the story. Where I'm more, I like to have a structure to lean against, but I also discover the chapters as I go. So everyone, it's a spectrum, right? It's not either or. Okay, then they had ever been. The second thing she noticed before her copper eyes showed themselves, was that actually it wasn't, I want to say Vespa up here. Vespa was that she wasn't lying on the cold stone floor. Of the catacombs. Anymore. Where was she? Vespa closed. Yeah. Closed her hands. Her right clearly grabbing onto, something. Something akin to grass, something akin to long straws of grass. But that didn't make any sense. I kind of want to have this "Where was she?" 3 times. A wonderful breeze. Oops. Caressed. I think that's only with an R, 1 R, isn't it? Caress. Yes. Whoa, you guys have written a lot that I didn't notice. Sorry about that. Playsim says I don't want to world build logistics when I don't even have a story. East Lauren says I would actually say that revisioning is harder than writing in the first place, and the more work you put into writing, the revisioning gets even harder, killing your darlings, as they say. Yeah, I definitely think that revision. He talks about that a lot as well in his the 2 first lectures that I've seen. But revision is such an underrated skill. I remember he discussed it in the beginning of in the middle of the first lecture, where he says, like, he gives an example of it. But ideas are good, but revision, learning to revise, and the skill of writing is what can make any idea great. Like, even bad ideas can make great books if you know the skill, know what you're doing, and know how to revise. Hey, Ozil is here. I'm just breezing through today. Hope your writing goes well. Thank you, Ozil. Very good to have you breezing through. Hope your Monday is going well. And I'm trying to be new. I'm just trying to apply everything that I've learned to others. I think editing is a pretty important part of writing. Something that's even potentially publishable. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. And yeah, to support the point of revisioning, even from my own stuff, like, I know I've talked about it a lot, but when I translate my stuff from English into Danish, I do sort of a revision process right there, right? Because Danish is a different language, and it's a much poorer language in that we don't have as many words for descriptions and such. But sometimes that actually makes my English sentences better, sharper, more to the point. So that's really interesting, because I find a new way of phrasing it, and that's because of the revision, right? And I think it's to your point, Isolauren, as well. It's something that a lot of people don't think about. That's part of the book writing process. Again, Brandon Sanderson almost talks about revision like it's more important than discovering a story in the first place, right? That's a skill you have to master, or have to try to master at least. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. And you know, kill your darlings can be difficult. I'm scared that I have darlings in this that I need to kill. I know there's one. There is the whole Son of the Evening title, the champion of this castle being called Son of the Evening, the Son of the Evening. I'm a little bit scared that plot is like, it doesn't have a whole lot to do with the main plot. It's sort of just a it's just a fun little thing that I'm not sure if I need to cut by the end, but we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, I misspelled caressed. Caressed her. The blades. The grassy blades. Let's go with that. It's a bit weird. Whatever, it's fine. Grassy blades. Gently. Grassy blades, gently something. I don't want to say caressed again. Caressed. Petting, cuddle, hugging her. Nuzzle, cradle, soothed, touched. Embraced is a good one. Yeah, embraced is a good one. It is actually. Let's go with embraced. Thank you, Easy Lauren. Embraced. Embraced her cheeks and neck. Where was she? Okay, that was page 238. New page hype. Whoop whoop. Co-writer, if I may. Well, let's see. But sure, for now you're all co-writers. Also says I began to write in active third person after 50 pages, so I had to revise everything. Like she was crying, she cried. Oh my god. Also makes sentences more concise generally. Yeah. Oh, it's a bit of a not a terrible one, but a bit of a funny one to have happen in the middle of your writing. You sort of change style. Well, not style, but what's it called? Tense? That's funny. Yay, Sarah is here as well. Hey Sarah, new page hype indeed. Page 238. Oops. Smudge my ink. Happens when learning indeed, although that is not a rule per se, more of a guideline I try to follow. You know. It is as Captain Barbosa says about the Pirates Code. Is indeed more not actually rules, but more guidelines. There are more guidelines than actual rules. And yes, it's all about the learning. It's so good to hear. There was no more aching. In Vespa's body. Her muscles, her bones, that had been under such tremendous strain mere moments ago. Ooh. Only felt a little tired. Maybe a lot tired though. Maybe a lot tired. Tired. Just like her eyelids still resting. Still heavy as were they stones. Were they big slabs of stone? I don't know about that. It's a bit of a weird phrasing, isn't it? Whatever. Mr. Lawrence says, I remember accidentally switching from past tense to present tense when writing in school. It was for test 2 and I felt so stupid. Oh no. There was nothing to feel stupid about, but I can definitely... I know what you feel. I once in school, so it wasn't for writing as per se, but it was like we had these dictation tests where like the teacher would read something out loud and we had to write what she read. And of course we would get graded for how well we did. And it was like something like 120 words, 200 words, whatever, per test. And the teacher had to count them. This was done by hand. Teacher had to count all the words and see how many of them were correct. Yes, I'm that old. And I almost had a perfect score 3 of these dictation tests in a row. But I had misspelled the Danish word for land or country, or like, well, land, which is basically the same as land, spelled the same. And I forgot the D. So like, just go in here. So like, I remember for test 1, it was like landbrug that I misspelled. You can't really see that. There we go. Which is farm. And I spelled it like that. So without the D. And for the second one, oops, it was this one, which is landscape. And guess what? I spelled it like this. This is 3 separate. What was the last one? That was also. It was the same. Some word with land. And I spelled it land. So there was 3 separate of these dictation tests in a row, and it was the only word that I misspelled in each of them. Let me tell you, Easy Lauren, I felt so dumb, especially by the third one. And I think by the third one, my teacher, it was like shown at a parents-teacher conference. She was like so happy that I had finally gotten the perfect score. And then as she was waiting for me and my parents to sit down, she noticed this error here and had to deduct 1 point, not giving me a perfect score. Oh, I'm sitting there with my parents watching that for the 3rd time happen. That was terrible. This guy has a pretty good story. So this is the 11th. Let's go with that instead. The 11th. Dictation. Fail. Story. So yeah. We've all done funny stuff. It's okay, we were kids. As a Swedish person, I have to point out that it wasn't Danish, which is a handicap in and of itself. You know what, Isa Lauren? I think it's time for you to go to bed. I will not have that slander, on my channel. What a scoundrel you are. I am of course just joking, yeah. So am I. It was a good joke. But yeah, Danish can be very difficult. Not only because of our pronunciation of stuff, but we do have a lot of like silent H's, soft letters. For example, in landscape, that we say landscape, the different sounding D. Okay, where were the heaviest big slabs of stone? After much fighting, after what felt like an eternal struggle, Vespa finally got her eyes open. Whoa. What on earth was that? And what met them? What met them? That looked terrible, that N. Was maybe even more of a surprise, more of a... Nobody can see that's an A. There we go, a surprise. Then what she could have imagined. Vespa wasn't lying in a field, at least not one she knew. Nor one she had ever imagined. One that, oh my god. I feel like my writing is terrible today. More terrible than normal. Isloren says, I believe that Danish is one of the more difficult languages to learn. Even for native speakers. The Camelloso sketch comes to mind too. Yeah, you are correct. There is, I read a theory once that, not a theory as much, but Danish children are scoring like quite a lot lower in their native language in schools compared to Swedish, Norwegian and Finnish people, or Finnish children. And there's a theory that it might actually be because we have so many strange rules and so many arbitrary, that's just the way it is. And of course the pronunciation that we use like the back of our throat a lot when we speak. So that is actually quite true. The Camelloso sketch. Now, okay, so I'm Danish and I'm of course offended by it. No, I'm not offended by it. I do have a little bit of a hot take, I think. You are, of course, entitled to make fun of everything, so that's great, and I love being made fun of myself. But I feel like there should be... Okay, my problem with the Camelloso sketch is that there's not really a lot of truth to it. Sure, we have funny pronunciations and such, but this whole sketch relies on the fact that the two people can't understand what each other's saying. And, you know, that's just dialect. Every country have dialect that like that. But I don't know. And I do get that it's funny because Norwegians and Swedes loves making fun of Denmark, just like Denmark loves making fun of Swedes and Norwegians. But yeah, my personal taste, that's not really my personal taste. The Camelloso sketch, I don't find it that funny. Oh, also this Finnish. Oh, interesting. I speak Swedish too, but Danish is almost impossible to understand when spoken. So yeah. You know, from a Finn, that's saying something. Because you guys, your language have an entirely different root compared to Danish and Swedish and Norwegian. There's also, I read, that's a long time ago, but there was like a talk at one point that Danish, Norwegian, and Sweden shouldn't be called brother languages anymore, sister languages, because the newer generation would much rather speak English than trying to understand each other across the countries, which is quite funny. Yeah, we make fun of each other all the time, exactly. It's the best relationship. It's a sibling relationship. And if anyone from the outside comes to make fun of any one of us, then we will be the first one to defend each other as well. Yeah, different language. Better than warring. Definitely. Definitely. You know, there's I believe there's a Danish law, and you said warring, because Denmark and Sweden are the two countries in the world that has been at war most times, I think. There's a Danish law, I think at least, that has never been abolished, which says if the Øresund, the strait between Denmark and Sweden, freezes over and Swedes come marching on Denmark again, because that has happened before, then we are allowed to beat the Swedes with stones and sticks. So be wary if that ever happens. It probably won't with climate change, but you know, better to be on the safe side if Øresund freezes over. No one that she could have ever imagined. Even I knew this. I saw a comic strip about it. Oh yeah, that might be Scandinavia and the World. I think she did a comic on it at one time. But I think I maybe also read somewhere that it was a misinterpreted law or something. I just hope it's true because it's funny. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Scandinavia and the World, she's done most of those fun little tidbits and trivia about each other's countries. Sitting up in sitting up in her confusion, Vespa was indeed in a field. But the tall grass had an almost golden glow and look. Maybe those two should be switch it up. Almost golden glow and look. More akin to a forests autumn colors. Then to a summer's green. She looked up. To find herself sitting below sitting below a lonely tree. Okay, my handwriting is really bad today. We don't like that. Sitting below a lonely tree. Its branches almost blinding white. The leaves taking on the same golden colors. As the grass in the fields. Behind the leaves Vespa saw the two sons still in their eclipse. The spirit son as Renaith had called it. As long as Lemon's feathers, I assume Lemon is yellow. Yes, but I want. Oh, that was the wrong one. You are correct, but I don't. Lemon is. Oh my god, I'm so messing everything up here. So, Lemon, yellow budgie. Lemon is yellow like this, so like really vibrant yellow. Go away. Where I'm going for much more, the thing I'm trying to describe, and I'm probably not succeeding, but what I want it to look like is Bastion in World of Warcraft. Something like this, so it's much more toned down. Much more toned down, much more goldeny. Well, a lot more than this. So not this vibrant yellow. Yeah, pale brown yellow. Yeah, exactly. It's just sort of reminiscing of golden and glowing. That's sort of the feel that I think I want. So I think, and I'm pretty sure that I want to call the chapter, call it Fields of Gold, when I start actually naming chapters. So I'm going to lean heavily into the golden. The gold. Oh, there's Fields of Gold, not Fields of Golden. That's sort of the way that I'm imagining it. Or was it? There was no shine. Shine to the suns. Instead, they looked like two fuzzy balls. That's a fuzzy spheres. Maybe spheres is better. It's still not great. Not great. Sky of, let's go with the pale one, pale gold. Fuzzy white spheres. Sky of pale gold. Most everything here seemed to have some sort of golden glow to it. But everything was also nice. That was the only explanation, only term, only word. That occupied Vespa's mind. As she looked out over what seemed to be what seemed to be endless golden fields. The warmth from the suns or whatever they were wasn't too hot, nor was it too cold. Nor was it too cold. It was nice. Same with the gentle breeze. Oh, breeze. And the air. Filling her lungs. East Lawrence has motes of dust, is what I imagine the suns to look like, but larger, of course. Yeah, I like the word motes, actually. Really like that, motes. Cody the writer is here. Hey, Cody. Hope you've been well. Thank you. I've been pretty well. Had a little bit of a under the weather stint last week. I hope you're doing well as well. Oh, that reminds me, I haven't gotten back to you replying to your message yet. Sorry about that. I promise I'll do it right after the stream. Lauren says the suns looked like they were behind a cover of clouds, but there were no clouds in sight. Oh, that's a good one, actually. That is a quite good one. No worry, I've been busy with revisions myself. Nice. Very nice. She felt completely at ease. Without a worry or a care in the world. Her world. Cody says, I'm doing a theater show as well as working an 8 to 5. I'm tired, lol. Oh dear lord. So you're working, you're doing theater, and you're writing. That is a busy schedule. Wow. Okay. I'm impressed, though, I must say. Sounds fun, but yeah, exhausting. A little bit exhausting. So what are your theater show about? Vespa couldn't remember the last time. She felt like this. In fact, she couldn't even remember what worries she had, but she knew she had them. I don't know if this paragraph is being a little bit too fluffy, but whatever, it's the first draft. Remember what her worries were. she just knew that she had them. That's such a weird phrasing, had. I'm not even sure I'm using it right. Correct. Question mark? Cody said, I only do one show a year because that schedule is not sustainable. I'm doing Legally Blonde, the musical. Okay, that sounds interesting. I've actually never seen Legally Blonde, but I know of it. It's a bit of a classic, isn't it? First drafts are allowed to be fluffy or even fuzzy. Now that we have fuzzy here, that's true, guys. It's just, you know, it was quite funny. I think that's one of the things that struck me the most when I am watching Brandon Sanderson's writing lectures and reflecting upon my own stuff. How much, you know, I know that I am an outliner. I realize I'm an outliner. I have this giant document where I outline every one of the chapters, where we are in the hero's journey, what needs to be introduced. Maybe actually this should be promise here. Now that we have that terminology. Maybe I need to rework this into promise, progress, and payoff. Could be kind of cool. Anyway, you know, I even have a column for where I think I think the tension should be, and then I'm writing, I'm discovering the chapters. So structure-wise, story-wise, I'm an outliner, but I'm a discovery writer in the chapters, almost like. And in some cases, it turns out that some of the chapters are just way longer than I ever think they would be because I just keep writing. And I think that's probably the biggest revelation that I've had so far. I've only watched 2 lectures, of course, but it's been fun. Cody says Legally Blonde is the early 2000s, which I guess is classic now. Yeah. That's like, when you realize that early 2000s is 25 years ago, it's like a knife into the heart, isn't it? The outline could be seen as the very first draft of the book. That's true. That's true. But I think it's better to say that it's like it's the structure, it's the outline. I used to because when I started writing my journeys, because I had no idea how to do stuff, so I thought, well, let's start with a synopsis. And this is my synopsis for Calamity. This is not a synopsis. This is the entire story, but without spoken words, spoken language in it. And that was the way I did things for the first 2 short stories that I had. Until I was like, okay, maybe I need to not do double work, triple work when I translate everything. But you know, you live and you learn. And this was just the way I did things in the beginning. I think, so this is like, what is that? 6 pages. And I think the actual story is 15 or something like that. Actual short story. Cody says, I'm the same way. I go into a story knowing the events that take place and that the character's arc reveals themselves as I draft. Yeah, I think what I like the most about this process is actually when you get good ideas and like, oh, this suddenly works better, and you go, because your story has evolved, right? and then you go back into the outline document or whatever and change things up, and you just know, oh, this is so much better than what I had planned. I love that feeling. Let's just have... I have so many potential clips. That I could be making into short form videos, but I just don't feel like I have the time. What was it? It was short story synopsis. Oh well, maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll get to make a bunch of them. But just like the aching and hurt in her body, they were simply gone. From this place. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense actually, but whatever. Where was she? That was twice. Where was she? That was 3 times. Where was she? Isolauren says, I could possibly be wrong, but I think had is correct here, as it is past tense. If it was written in present tense or dialogue, it would have been have had. Yes. Well, I think it is correct as well. I'm not great with grammar. I'm not great with remembering grammatic rules. But that's not going to stop me anymore. It used to stop me. But I do, it's just a funny, I always found it funny when it happens. Had. Yeah, one of the funny little intricacies of the English language. It do that. Well done, Isolauren. It do that. I don't know if I want to keep this where, well, I'm gonna keep it now, but the where was she? I kind of do like that it's the same question over and over again, and you sort of get more and more information between them, but the mystery, well, the intended mystery gets bigger. Okay, so here I think I want Lemon to sort of surprise her. Lemon is flapping her wings, his wings, her wings, and like it said on the outline. Where were we? Dear. Lemon comes flying towards her, practically embracing her with her wings. The sound of a rhythmless. Remember, Lemon is a terrible flyer, and he's still terrible in this realm of death. Flapped towards Vespa. I don't actually think I want there to be sound. Maybe that's something I need to think about. Do we want there to be air and breeze and sound here? Do we want I reread it do that too much, is Lauren. I just got semantically satiated. Honestly, Easy Lauren, I do think you have a way with words. I hope you do pick up a pen or a PC and start writing something at some point, if you find the courage to do it. I definitely think like you could do something. Okay, so for now there's sound. Do we want sound? Do we? And when I say we, I of course mean me and future me. Because it could also be feeling like she felt Rillamer's wings flapping. Turning around. something of bright yellow. Crashed straight into her chest. Its wings stretched out. Into an aggressive embrace. Into an I kind of want to. I like the aggressive. Misspelling of aggression. Wow, thank you. Yes, I know it's a misspell. Just give me aggressive. Forceful could be a good one. Let's go with forceful. Into a forceful embrace. Almost knocking, not knowing. Almost knocking Vespa Oh, did she back down? I don't think she actually stood up yet. Back down onto her back. Let's go with that. Onto her back. Hey, Lauren says, thanks. I find it fun to write sometimes. It's enjoyable to get immediate feedback on my short messages here. It's also a topical forum for it. That's true. And I am more than happy to give you the immediate feedback. And have you here in the chat. It's great. It's amazing. And yes, indeed, it is indeed a topical forum for it. Okay, so this is sort of why I just wrote, do we want sound in this realm? Because you know how Renaith, he as a spirit talks to Vespa, like through her mind, and I kind of want that same thing to happen here. So without Vespa, so like now she's going to she's not going to yell, but she's going to exclaim lemon and happy, but there will be no sound. It'll be like, because she is in the spirit realm, right? So that's why I don't think there should be sound up here, and I don't think there should be air in general, but it should just be that. Also, same with the gentle breeze and the air filling her lungs. If there's no air, we can sort of have this mysterious, oh, she can't breathe, but it feels all right. You know, she's not in her living body anymore. The message box on the stream seems to have frozen. At least one message got lost. Oh, did it? It's a bit strange sometimes. Just check. I don't know. Sometimes it's also, yeah. The message box over up here is it's a little bit behind, and sometimes messages just doesn't appear. It's a bit weird. But then again, you know, you already have the chat box, so maybe a little bit redundant. But I don't know. I quite like the look of it actually, it being there. But I do have like an actual chat as well, so I'm not reading from my I'm pointing with my mouse. You can't see that. I'm not reading from this, of course. I'm reading from an actual chat pop out. Yes, exactly, Lauren. It's good for archival purposes outside of YouTube. It's very good for when I do make like these short form video highlight clips of the stream. It's very good to have an actual chat that I can screenshot. So that way it works well. If all the chat messages are there. Almost knocking Vespa back down. Want to head back. So I'm going to write it in cursive. Lemon. Vespa's heart was so overwhelmed. Was suddenly so. I feel like I write suddenly a lot. That needs to be. Is it crutch? Crutch word? Hey, Infinity Cute. Hi, I'm new. Welcome to the stream, Infinity Cute. Why don't you tell me what's happened in the story? So I have the story so far where I have all the chapters. So I'm not gonna tell you all of the chapters, but the most recent development is that we have Vespa, and she has a pet bird the pet bird died. She tried to save it by using her own spirit, her own life force, the magic power of that, to save her pet bird Lemon. And the result was that they both died. And now Vespa has awoken in the realms of death, in the spirit realm, and she has just been reunited with her pet bird. He's saying hi, question mark? Am I... I'm not muted, am I? But definitely super welcome to the stream, Infinity Cute. That's so wholesome and fun. Well, thank you. I do hope that it's... I hope there's a little bit of drama in there as well. Oh, okay, that was too easy, Lauren. Nothing is wrong with the stream. Okay, good. It's just because there's suddenly so many of you in the chat, and you're starting to talk to each other, and I'm not used to that. So, you know, I have to learn. Overwhelmed with joy. that she felt like it would burst. If she didn't okay, so this needs to be capitalized. Capitalized. Except nothing happened. Yeah, I definitely don't want to have air in this realm. I think I've settled on that. And where there's no air, you can't have voices. When she opened, and yet it still felt. Hey, that was the end of page 239. We're going to 240. New page hype. Whoop whoop. As long as it's on relatively, yeah, so a couple of weeks ago. New page hype, Sarah. Woo! Infinity Cute says, cool, I have to go soon though. Have something coming new. I just wanted to watch live. Oh, Infinity Cute, that is so good to have you around. Just the fact that you want to, that you feel like dropping by means a lot. Thank you so much. Felt as if her joy came across just fine. Yay for new page! Yay for new page indeed! Whoop whoop! What is Lauren? You're doing math now? 5 times 3 times 2. Now we can enjoy this page even more. Hey, let's go. Infinity Cute, I'm writing a book too. Okay, cool. What are you writing? Is it fantasy? Just like me? It doesn't have to be, but you know. There are multiple people here who are also writing. Sarah Norval is writing something as well. Cody, there was I don't know if he's still here, but he is writing his second book right now. Flays Flame is writing his first book. Miri is writing. Laquero is writing. More fiction, but kinda. Nice. So is it like contemporary, or like is it taking place in the real world, I should say? It's so cool to hear. I love it that so many of you are actually writing as well and finding time to just drop by. It's amazing. how do we want to do this? So almost as if Reina was talking as when Reina was talking to her, as when Reina was talking to her. Actually, that's exactly what it felt like. Actually, that was the exact feeling. She got Isilorian says, I'm looking into using the note-taking tool called Obsidian to write. I'm not sure what to write yet. I think it's a good idea to have... I know writers like Stephen King absolutely despises note-taking. But he's like one in a million, right? I think it's a good idea to have note-taking tools. I have different note-taking tools. I have this really small notebook that I use for when I'm not online, and then I have idea documents on my Google Drive for notes. Just when I have an idea, I note it down, so I won't forget it. And you know, even if sometimes I feel like I can get an idea and not know what to do with it, but it's just a cool idea, and then I know it, and then I write it down. And then at some point I'm looking over my ideas and then thinking, hey, actually this idea that I wrote down a long time ago, I can use that now. So it's just such a good tool. Infinity Cute, gotta go, have fun writing, I believe in you. Thank you, Infinity Cute. You know, I believe in you too, for your book, and have a wonderful Monday. So I had a friend recommend me the app. I never heard of the app before. Never looked at it, because I just write for fun. It's got a lot of cool features, says Isilorian, to link together text files like a wiki. Oh, could help with keeping track of world building and characterization. Interesting. It's called Obsidian, you say? Obsidian note taking. Interesting. Sharpen your thinking. You know what? That's definitely worth looking into. So, thank you for that recommendation. Okay, I do feel right now sometimes like my ideas and notes and stuff are sort of a little bit over the place sometimes. I've also heard of Scrivener, should be pretty good for writing in general. But now I have all of my stuff like in my Google Drive on different documents. It just feels a little overwhelming to try out a new app for it, I guess. But I'll definitely look into it. Obsidian. Cool name. Obsidian is always cool. Okay, so lemon. You're alive. Well, They aren't, but she doesn't know that. I was so worried. So worried Vespa felt Vespa could cry. Lauren says there's also support for something called canvases, which is kind of noticeable in a file, where you can add images and notes and move them around to brainstorm and collect reference material. Oh, that sounds pretty cool, actually. Yeah, that sounds really cool. I do have like, I've sort of started making a timeline document of when the different things, the different stories happen in my fantasy universe. And the best way I found so far in like Google Docs is to use a spreadsheet. But it's clunky, and I do really feel like if I had like a board or something, that could really work as well. So yeah, if that Obsidian has something like that, it might actually be worth looking into. Very cool. She wanted to cry, but nothing came. Just like her. Just like her words. But the joy of seeing her companion, joy of seeing her companion fly into her arms, fly into her arms. Made her forget all the questions. Questions that might have occupied her mind. So I sort of want actually to completely understand Lemon, but maybe not have Lemon talk, but just have Vespa understand her Lemon's, like her chirping, her tweets, her whistling. Isolon says there's also a lot of plugins for sort of workflows, even writing, but I don't think it's necessary to use unless you're more experienced and find it useful for your work. I want to stick to something simple. Trying to find the perfect tool can be a procrastination trap. Oh yeah. I've fallen into those so many times. I mean, it took me almost 10 years from when I made the first document in my Google Drive to I wrote my first short story. Mostly because of procrastination and being scared of actually beginning to write, because I'd never written anything since school. So yeah, procrastination trap, I know all about that shit. She could feel the happy and excited chirps from Lemon nuzzling. Nuzzling her. So I think, yeah, without two things here. So Vespa has thought that Lemon was a boy. Lemon isn't. Lemon is a girl. That's just a minor thing. It's just a minor fun little thing, because I thought for the longest time that my budgie was a boy, and it turns out she was a girl. So I just wanted to have that. And Lemon, of course, is basically my budgie, but in this story. So and at the end of chapter 17, Renee called Lemon a she, which confused Vespa. And I feel like here we're going to completely start calling Lemon her a she, and then have in the next chapter have Vespa sort of realize, oh, it's a girl. So here we're going to start all the time saying that Lemon is she's her, and Vespa's just not gonna think about it. She's just gonna go with it, because now she understands, now she has a connection to Lemon. She's just gonna, but it's just going to be sort of natural to her. And then next chapter, I feel like is a good chapter to have her realize, wait, I can understand you, and 2, you're a girl. Nuzzling into Vespa's chest and arms. We did just write into the arms here. I know I was Vespa had a lot of trouble answering her companion. Out of sheer happiness. I was so worried. Oh my god. Oh yeah, also, was it last time where I found out that my R's are wrong in cursive? Yeah, we did that. This is how I make R's, and this is how they're actually supposed to be in cursive. I don't know if I'll ever incorporate that. Maybe that's just my style, you know? Have a little bit of flair in the way I write terribly. She repeated. Without any voice escaping her. Escaping. That's a squiggly lowercase n. You know, it's so bad sometimes. When I write fast, like this one is a good example. I guess it's not as bad as in cursive, but this could be a V. Do we have any V's here? That we can compare there. Well, okay. Oh, that looks like a V. But yeah, my R's and my V's are quite close to each other when I'm not writing cursive. And my U's and my N's are also a little bit close to each other. It's not good. It's not great, guys. And like I've said before, you'd think, having written 2, soon to be 3 volumes full of handwriting, and another book that is soon done with my short stories, and other even shorter stories, you would think that my handwriting would improve. It does not. Not any voice escaping here. In the end, Vespa gave up on trying to express herself. And simply I got my subscription back on my dictionary. Okay, so it is relish. It's like, is it actually relish? Because I was like, doesn't that mean like pickles and yeah, dressing, condiments? But no, it is actually just enjoy things and simply relished. In their reunion. Besides, Lemon seemed to have no trouble. Seemed to have no trouble finding the right words. For the both of them. For the both of them. So I don't know if this is a good way of like alluding to the fact that, oh, Vespa actually understands what Lemon is saying. Maybe it's actually not bad. Just like it hasn't occurred to her yet that she understands. That she understands Lemon's chirps. As Lauren says, I relish. There's been a lot of those today, haven't there? I had, I do, I relish. That's true. It's beautiful, isn't it? When the emotions of the two seem to have calmed down a little. Vespa stood up to have another look around. With Lemon having no plans to leave her arms. Having no plans to leave her arms. Ace Lauren says, what if Vespa imagines Lemon's voice throughout the book when having dialogues with her, and now she realizes that it's not her imagination anymore? That's exactly what I intend to have happen, because earlier in the book she does that, where she's like arguing with her sister, and then she's saying like, I know because Lemon told me. Because she imagined that Lemon told her. So it is not a major revision. It is exactly what happens. And I have sort of built up to that. I mean, I intended to have built up to that, but we'll see in the revision. So I want to say good catch, or at least a great idea, because I had the same idea. Does it happen a lot throughout the book? Yes, basically every time she uses Lemon in an argument or talking to Lemon, and Lemon chirps back, she's like, oh yeah, you're right, it could also be that. But it's all something she imagines at that point. And then in the next chapter, when they are alive again, she's going to realize, hey, I can actually understand what Lemon is saying. So yeah. I think that's a great idea. And like she talks to Lemon all the time, because Lemon is basically her only friend. Sad as that is. Well, I guess Reynard is her friend as well, but he's a spirit in a warhammer, so that doesn't really count. And his sister, but she's more like a mother figure to her. But it's, you know what, Lauren, we're going to add that to the revision list. Make sure that Vespa like, because I think I do it. I intend to have it that way, but yeah. I somehow figured out the promise from the payoff. Yes, true. I mean, that's gotta mean that they are aligned, right? Make sure that Vespa imagines understanding Lemon throughout the book and have it be a surprise when she actually can understand. I guess you're also right. Oh my god, my eyes started itching. But I guess you're also right that it's actually a promise throughout the book. One of those promises that are like, hey, I didn't know I was making a promise with this. I can't believe we are only 2 lectures into the Brandon Sanderson videos, and I already feel like so much has opened up in terms of analytical tools, and I don't know if it's know-how, but just the fact that I'm aware of these things, right? It's great. So here I wanted to see a large white wall with a gate, an intricate gate in it. She's not going to have to do anything to do with the wall or the gate, but just like it's there. I'm gonna have I have a short story planned. There's going to be short story number 6 actually. I'm going to have someone walk through that gate. But it's kind of cool to just have like, you know, it's a mysterious world building thing. It's going to be a long, as far as the eyes can see, white wall with a gate in it. But how do I want to say that? Now that she was turned around, from where she woke up, it wasn't just fields of golden grass. golden grass. As far as her eyes could see, as far as her bright copper eyes could see, bright copper. I guess vibrant is better, vibrant. Something blocked her view, something. Blocked her view. And she had to spend another moment or two. There it was. What I just talked about. This was basically a V. This is basically a V. Terrible handwriting. Until she realized what she was looking at. Realized what she was looking at. Her eyes opening wide. Her eyes opening wide when she did. It was a wall of the purest white, color she had ever seen. Isidore asked, Ella said, I guess sprinkling in some promises after you've discovered reading a payoff is not a bad tactic, but in this case it was planned. A good approach for prophecies. Yeah, true. Yeah. But that is exactly what Brandon Sanderson is talking about, right? When you know the story, when you know a ending to your story, you can begin really laying out the promises and the progress for it in the revisions, sprinkling them in. A good it's exactly. It's a good approach for prophecies as well. I do actually have a prophecy that I haven't finished yet. Because I think I sort of need to know how the book is going to be, how the book is going to go. But also it's going to be thought of as a prophecy, but it's actually, because it's been so long since what this prophecy is talking about, it was actually more of just like a song to commemorate what happened, because my story is sort of going to be like a history repeats itself sort of thing, and then throughout the time when this song was made, it sort of turned into a legend and a prophecy, and that's that prophecy in itself is going to be a promise for the book, for what the book is about. But yeah, I really feel like embellished history. Yeah, exactly, embellished history. Well, maybe not embellished, but yeah, I guess you could say. I guess you could say that. Yeah, because it's going to be this strange thing where, you know, there's this giant, terrible battle, light versus dark, good versus evil. Good won, and then this castle where the story takes place was built sort of to on the site of this final battle versus the evil, and they made this song to, you know, make sure that history wouldn't repeat itself. And then throughout time it got embellished, like you say, it's prophecy, it turned into much more of a prophecy, and then it sort of was forgotten. And then one of the subplots of my book here is like rediscovering this prophecy and rediscovering the battle versus the evil. It's not going to be a huge subplot, and it is one of those where I'm thinking like, is it actually something that I want to have happen? But yeah, that's for another day. Like, does it even make sense to have happen? Maybe that is actually one of the darlings that I need to kill. One of those I'm afraid that I might have to kill. The wall looked to be far away. And yet it was as tall as it maybe not as tall as it was wide, but it was taller. It was taller. Than anything Vespa had ever seen. I think there's some rephrasing here that needs to be done. So tall, it almost looked to be touching the sky, if there was one. Looked like it touched the sky. If there was one. Looking to the side, did not help in reeling in Vespa's all. Reeling in Vespa's. Oops. Vespa's all. I don't think there should be a semicolon up here. We're just gonna have a normal full stop. And then have a semicolon down here. The white wall continued. Continued for as far as Vespa as she could see. Racing racing with the golden grass into the distance. Into the fuzzy, I don't want to say fuzzy again. It's a bit of a strange word to use. Into the hazy, yeah, that's good. Hazy. Into the hazy. Horizon. I'm not sure it's a word, but I'm gonna use it anyway. Well, we're almost at 2 pages written today. So we haven't exactly had the best pace, but you know, it is what it is. I do feel like this is a really not critical point, but it's a difficult point because it's this mysterious realm, and maybe I'm not entirely sure how I want things to look. So you know, finding out how you want to describe things, how it feels and all that. Yeah. But it's good. It's all good. Looking to the other side. Was the same. White wall and golden grass. White wall and golden grass. Into the distance. Golden grass. Into distance. It's the resting point that Sanderson talks about, the calm before the storm. 100%. This is 100% one of the breather chapters before the story is climaxing. Like I have the tension column here. You know, we just had quite high tension in the 2 chapters before it with the fight against Ronin and all that, and the Lemon dying. So now maybe this is even just light and not light to medium in tension. And when I say tension here, it's much more, okay, things are mysterious. It's not like, oh, this is a thriller tension. But yeah, but we also had like here, but I guess in chapters 9 and 10, which is just after, I think the first attempt at Vespa's life. Yeah, when Vespa almost dies the first time, and she wakes up in the quarters of the chapters, and they sort of talk about flowers and poison and stuff. And then there's a bit of a breather chapter as well afterwards. But you know what? It was nice listening or hearing Brandon Sanderson talk about that, because that was exactly what I was hoping. I mean, sure, it's my own book, but you know, and I can do with it what I want. But I am a little bit worried sometimes that I don't know how to do action properly, or maybe enough of it, because I myself like these slower chapters where you get to process things and like mysteries happens and so on. The wall, however, did break up into what Vespa thought was the biggest closed gate. Biggest gate. That she had ever seen. She had ever. Lauren says action chapters usually have quick pacing and chaotic sequences that can be difficult to follow at times, depending on how involved the point of view characters is in the fighting. Yeah, that's true. It's one of my. This doesn't say far; it says fast. Like it is, action sequences are what I'm probably most worried about in general. So I do give that quite a lot of attention whenever I try them out. It's funny because I just read Mistborn, Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn, and it was an amazing book. And one of the problems that I had with it, minor problems I guess, is actually a consequence, I think, of his allomancy, his hard magic system, which have really simple. Okay, Isilorian says I've not read it, but it's on my shelf. You should definitely read it. It's very, very, very good. But he has this allomancy, which is the magic system. It's a hard magic system with simple rules, quite restrictive, but he's really creative with it. So, you know, he uses these simple rules in a good way, but in action sequences, because they're so restrictive and these rules are so simple, the rules, he uses words like push and pull, burn, flare, and so on. They are repeated all the time. And I personally felt that it was actually a little bit detrimental, that it made the action sequences a little bit messy. Because the same words were repeated over and over and over again. I could see why he did it, but I just thought it was an interesting consequence of having a simple and restrictive magic system. Fairly simple and restrictive magic system, that it actually didn't make the action sequences very clean. I did start it. I know at least about the beginning descriptions of the magic metal stuff. Yeah, so you know, you have like iron pull, steel push, or maybe it's the other way around. But it's really cool. But when there's really a lot of action, it gets quite hard to follow, I think. That was my experience. But it's I say really hard. It wasn't detrimental or anything to the story. It was just a interesting point that I thought of when I was reading it. It was tall. Its arced top, towering, even the wall itself. Towering, even the wall itself. And yet for a gate, it was simple. kind of just want to finish this page here, and then I think we'll end the live stream for today. Lauren says, with a clear magic system that follows rules, action sequences can become like math equations or cooking recipes if you rely on the system too much. Yeah, that's my experience with Mistborn. I still want to read the rest of the Mistborn book, but it's a little bit like that. Also because he starts using physics in it, like the way the characters creatively use these magic rules. So it's really creative. It's really interesting. But yeah, I'm much more on the mystery side of magic. I like the fights in Harry Potter, at least between powerful wizards, because the magic feels so beyond understanding that it can be exciting. True. I can see what you're coming from. I almost felt like the magic was a little bit of an afterthought in Harry Potter, like except for the Avada Kedavra, these very specific spells. You know, it's very much like just the wizards just flinging their wands and stuff happens, which I guess sort of also makes sense because it's like their weapons. I personally love the magic in the Warcraft universe, where it's like bombastic and crazy effects and really cool, like the elements. Sort of what I'm trying to do with my magic as well. At least that's my idea, that I want it to be unapologetically cool. Having a magic school in a world where magic makes no sense is counterproductive. yeah, that's I guess you could say that. But I also really like the Force in Star Wars, and I sort of said that's how I want magic to feel in my world, in my fantasy. I want it to be mysterious. I want it to be innate. I want it to be feeling. And then the effect of them, I want them to be grand, for like magic users. I have a 1-minute story that starts with this magic user sending down a tidal wave and basically drowning an entire army because she's so awesome. I really like that. It's just one person just commanding an entire ocean, basically. Or an entire lake. That's the sort of feel I'm going for. Actually, Forgate was massive. Massive. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. I'm actually a little bit not stunned, but I'm actually a little bit how do I describe what I wanted? How do I know what I want to write right now? Just massive, more like the great doors on the temple, then anything anything Vespa knew of. Vespa knew. I like the magic in Lord of the Rings. It's everywhere, but it's also barely there at the same time. When it shows up, it means more somehow. So I haven't actually. I read the first book, but yeah, the magic in the movies. I adore the movies, of course, especially the extended edition. But the magic is one of my big problems in that movie. I feel like it's been toned down so much that, you know, it's Gandalf shining a flashlight. Not shining a flashlight, but like it's there's not a lot to it in that in at least in the movies. And I want it to be more. I want it to be grand. And when Gandalf and what's he called? The wizard, the other wizard, Christopher Lee's character, Saruman, when they're fighting, I mean, they're basically just using the Force, which, I don't know. It was always, to me, it was always a bit, I would have liked much more Harry Potter magic in Lord of the Rings, actually. But I guess I can see what you mean, that it's so sparsely used, scarcely used, that when Gandalf do actually do something, it has meaning to it. But I would have liked to be much more explosions. I almost did the movies. I almost know I did try to read the Swedish version a long time ago, but the translation is notoriously bad. I read the first one in Danish as well. I mean, I don't think the translation was necessarily bad, for me at least. It was just like, it might be a hot take, but it wasn't a very good book. Because the first third of the book is, with the whole thing with Tom Bombadil and all that, it's just like, it might be world building, but it does not advance the story in any way, shape, or form. And I know it's an old book, it's from the 40s, it's 80 years old, but the best part, I mean, people love Tom Bombadil online, right? I'm just like, what on earth is he doing there? But maybe that's just me. Unlike, okay, I need to make sure that this check what I call it. Unlike they're called the Great Temple Doors now. Unlike the Great Temple Doors. However, this massive gate was plain. It was simple. Just the same white colors, not colors, just color. Just the same white color. As the never-ending wall, never-ending. no ornament on ornament or anything. Lauren says there's been a newer translation to Swedish, but I think I'll read the English version instead when and if I get my hands on it. That's my plan as well. I read The Hobbit. The Hobbit is a great book in comparison. I think I read that in English and read the Lord of the Rings in Danish. But yeah, it's just so much more focused. It feels like, you know, there was a plan from start to finish. Which I don't think is the case in the Fellowship of the Ring. I'm hoping that second and third one are better though. I will, of course, need to read them. I mean, I can't write fantasy without having read Lord of the Rings. Just like that should be illegal. I just hope no one. No, I don't hope the fantasy police comes knocking on my door. Could make a little bit of a meme out of that actually. 03. Lord of the Rings hot take plus fantasy police. Don't anger the Lord of the Rings book fan base. Yeah, that's. I remember when the movies came out, and the movies were the worst, the absolute worst thing in the entire world. And now they're the best thing in the world. It's so funny. But yeah, that fan base is, they can be quite aggressive. Just tall and massive. Closed and hauntingly beautiful. Let's go with that. Now that Vespa was staring at it, she noticed how... Hey, that was the end of the page. End of page 240, which means new page hype. Whoop whoop. We go to page 241. Notice how she noticed with a D. Noticed. Islon says, don't try to analyze the books either. There are Tolkien scholars out there that will argue with you until you turn to dust. Oh, I can imagine that. But you know, that's free engagement. So maybe I need to do that. I do actually have a video planned where I talk about fantasy magic. It's like way into the future for the channel, but idea, let's go with that. An idea for a video where I talk about the different magics in like Lord of the Rings, Warcraft, Harry Potter and all that. Where I do plan to say that I think it sucks ass. No, I don't like it in Lord of the Rings. So I'm looking forward to the engagement there. And yes, Sarah, new page hype. So good to see you lurking. Okay, let's have a couple of words and then end the stream. She noticed how the gate stood out despite... Actually, let's go there. Despite its simplicity, but we'll end right there in the middle of the word. So then tomorrow I'll have... Well, that's not going to be a live stream, but I'll have an easier time to get started. But here is the master sword of counting. So let's get counting, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 1 page. And 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. That's 2 pages, and well, that should be 9 lines here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 pages and 9 lines. It is just okay for today. If I place them here, it looks nice. And we go into the word count for the day. We take this, we put it here, we say 2 pages and 9 lines. Not the most we have ever written, but it's all right. And we just hit 89,075 words. It is just okay. There was a lot of chat engagement today, Easy Lauren. That is true, and we love chat engagement. I love that you guys are here and sharing your thoughts. It is also not the least, Sarah. Thank you for finding all the positives, you guys. Okay, I'll go here and then I'll go into this. You don't want to see behind the scenes really. What was it? It was 89,075. Have it. We move the progress bar. And that one. Tunes. And the jewel needs to go to pixel number 1673. And there we have it. And we transition here and we go here. And that was it for today, you guys. I want to thank you all for dropping by and for chatting with me. It is amazing that you find the time and want to contribute and be part of this. I can't thank you enough for that. Right, and then next live stream is going to be Wednesday. Hopefully, it should be. I don't know why it wouldn't. So we got that to look forward to. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like this on YouTube if you haven't already. And if you're new, I would love it if you would subscribe. It means a lot. Wednesday, same time. It is 8 Central European summertime. And I hope to see you there. Alright? Just remember that we write our own stories. And with that, we say bye. I'll see you Wednesday, I hope. Alright.